Hi guys, Zak here from Vortex Martial Arts and Fitness, and we're here today on our 4th lesson on our Beginner's iChucks course, Learn Nunchucks Online. In this lesson we're going to be covering wrist rolls. Now this isn't something we're going to add on to our lesson 1, 2 and 3 to include into that nunchuck form, but it's something that's really important for you guys as beginners to start trying to get a hold of now. So let's have a look at that wrist roll. All we're going to do to start with, guys, is back into that figure of 8 from our very first lesson. From that figure of 8, we're going to do a big swing and catch it alongside our body. So we're doing our figure of 8. When the chuck comes up, ready to transition on the inside, instead of going into that little swing, we're going to come up round and a big swing down and hold the chuck just at the side of our body. So we're doing a figure of 8, big swing, catch. Figure of 8, big swing, catch. Figure of 8, swing, catch. Practicing that figure of 8 into that big swing and then that catch is going to enable you to be able to transition from having the nunchucks in this position to having the nunchucks in this position, ready to start that wrist roll. Once we've got comfortable with that motion of the figure of 8 into that swing and catch, using the side of our body as a bit of a buffer and being able to catch the chuck there, we're going to move our hand out slightly and catch the chuck away from our body. So we're going to do the figure of 8, moving our hand out from our body, swing, catch. Figure of 8, swing, catch. So the chuck is away from our body. So figure of 8, swing, catch. Figure of 8, swing, catch. So practice that for a little while, guys, because that's going to be the transitioning move into the wrist roll. And now we'll go through the techniques of learning the wrist roll itself. So to learn this wrist roll, we're going to start with the nunchuck in this position. All we're going to do is we're going to rock the nunchuck like this, swing it over and let it sit on the back of our hand. So we're going to rock the chuck, swing and let it sit on the back of our hand. Once we're really comfortable with that swing and letting it sit on the back of our hand, we're going to go through now, releasing our grip and grabbing the nunchuck in that reverse grip. Okay, so what we want to look at doing is we swung it over to the back of our wrist. Once we get that motion comfortable there, we're going to do a really big swing, let the chuck go, and grab the other chuck in that reverse grip. So I'll show you one more time. We swing the chuck up, let the chuck go through our thumb. The chuck will come round the hand or the wrist and you'll grab it in that reverse grip. So it will end up looking a little something like this. So we throw it up round, hold it in that reverse grip. So we've got that good swing, up round, and grabbing it in that reverse grip. You'll notice, guys, if you do it slowly, it's hard to get that transition for the chuck to go all the way over. Go a little bit crazy with this one. Obviously train safely, but when you go crazy, really flip it around. Give the chuck that motion to be able to spin around your hand. So what you're going to need to do for this one, guys, is you're going to need to have that confidence in really throwing that chuck over and spinning. Now to start with, this is probably going to happen, which is completely natural. Doing the wrist roll, you're going to drop these chucks so much. Don't panic. Just pick them up, start again. We flip it round into that reverse grip. Okay? So just do a little slow close up. We spin it round, comes over the back of our hand. We open that grip release the first chuck, and hold that second chuck in that reverse grip. Once we've got that standard wrist roll, the forward wrist roll, and we've ended up in that reverse grip, we're just gonna use a technique now to get used to holding it and controlling the nunchuck in that reverse grip. So once you've got that good swing into that reverse grip, we're just gonna practice keeping that chuck spinning round, still holding it in that reverse grip, okay? So we span it round and we continue that spin. So we're holding it here, chuck's down, little spin into that wrist roll, we go round and keep that chuck spinning. So we're just doing the motion with our wrist, drawing that circle, keeping that chuck spinning round. So we wrist roll and keep that chuck spinning. That's gonna get you used to holding the chuck in that reverse grip and being able to be comfortable in all those different grips that we can hold the chuck in. So we started the lesson with that figure of 8 into that big swing. Then we've added the wrist roll into that continuous spin. And what we're gonna do now is we're gonna add those two together. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add the figure of 8 into that big swing. The figure of 8 into that big swing. And from that big swing, we're gonna go into that wrist roll and continue to spin the chuck. So figure of 8, big swing, wrist roll, continue that rotation. So it should look like this. Okay, figure of 8, swing, wrist roll, and keep the chuck spinning. Figure of 8, swing, wrist roll, and keep the chuck spinning. So once you've got that nailed and you're really comfortable doing that, we're gonna add in a stall. Now a stall is designed to completely stop the nunchucks from spinning. We can use these in several different ways. We can use it to end a performance, or we can use it simply for that pause to get the crowd to wow, or we can just use it as a semi-stall to use it to just change the direction, or use it as a redirect to change the direction of the chucks. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna use our other hand to stall the chucks. So we've got that figure of 8 into that wrist roll into the spin. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna do a figure of 8 into that wrist roll, and we're just gonna catch it before we start the spin. So figure of 8, wrist roll, catch. You'll end up catching it with the chucks in a straight line and one hand pointing up and one hand pointing down. So again guys, we can practice that by taking out the figure of 8 and the swing. So if we just want to practice it this way first, and all you want to do is you want to do that rotation and that wrist roll and get it into that grab position, okay? So start out how we did with the wrist roll into that continuous spin, but we're grabbing the chuck instead. So we wrist roll, grab, okay? Wrist roll, grab. We're gonna wrist roll around the wrist. As the chuck comes up, we're gonna grab the chuck like this. So by now you've probably spent more time picking up your chucks than you have actually learning the technique. Guys, don't panic. This is really advanced on the beginner scale, and I have only put it in as a little extra for you guys to practice alongside our other lessons. So now we've mastered the normal wrist roll, we're gonna go in to try the reverse wrist roll.